Please welcome to the stage, John Streets.
Thank you. Good evening. I don't know how I'm going to say this without saying like about 500 times. You know, it's like, like, in fact, you all know I teach up at Temple. I'm actually teaching my 17th semester this fall. And like, is that all right? And like, when I go to my first class, I tell my, no, I want this. Somebody does something wrong, you'll be getting this. See, if you all were a little older, you would remember when I ran for mayor. When Marty, anybody know who Marty Weinberg is? Anybody here under over 35? So this is not the story. This is not the story, but this is not the story, but I will tell you that at one point in time during the course of a robust council career, I did have the occasion to throw something on somebody. So I'm running for mayor. Marty Weinberg decides to put it in a commercial that I'm throwing this stuff. Problem is, a lot of the young guys in the hood, they thought it was my commercial. They thought it was my commercial. Well, it actually didn't work. But in any event, so my first day of class, I tell my students, I have 3 objectives for this class. I want to inform. You need to learn some stuff. I want to inspire. You need to leave this class determined that you're going to make life better for somebody somewhere. And then I say, we're going to entertain. Because everybody in college, is anybody here a college graduate? Boring. But in any event, so I tell them this is going to be an interesting class and we're going to do some entertaining. And so I have a story for just about everything. Now, when I was asked to do this, I said, I have a story. I'm a little reluctant about having it show up on YouTube, but I guess I'll have to take my chance. And I said, the thing went off. So there's no moral. This isn't anything inspiring. It's just something that happened. Anybody here a marathoner? Anybody here ever run a marathon? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I go back to 1980. 1980, I ran my first marathon. My first of about 6 marathons. I run about 6 marathons, and then I started walking them after I got over 55. And now I need a bike. But in any event, so this is all relevant. And I promise I'll be brief, no matter how long it takes. So in November, I run my first marathon, the Greater Philadelphia Independence Marathon. We start way out in the suburbs and we come here. And I felt really good about myself. I finished this marathon. Anybody here, when you finish a marathon, do you feel good about it? I mean, it's like a huge accomplishment. I felt good about it. And after about 3 months, I could walk again. I didn't know how to train. But by April of the next year, 1981, most of you were not born, I'm feeling really good. I ran my marathon. I even got my picture in the paper. And I had a press conference in my office. I can't remember the press conference. I mean, I don't know what the press conference was about, but a guy came to my office with a microphone and a camera, and I made a mistake of having the press conference in my office. So when I wanted it to end, I couldn't leave. It's kind of like you invite all these people to your house, and you want them to leave, they won't leave, and you can't go anyplace because they're here in your house. I never did that anymore. So he started wearing me out. He took the microphone, he put it all up in my face because he was actually trying to provoke me. Well, it worked. So I backed him out of the door, and just by the time I got out of the door, I pushed him. Well, he tries to say I hit him. The problem was his camera person was there and got the whole thing on camera, and they saw him fall like a ton of brick and slide across the city hall floor and hit his head on the other side of the wall. So when I said I only pushed him, well, it's a definitional thing. So he sued me. He sued me. And he sued me. Any lawyers in the room? Anybody know what loss of consortium is? So he sued me, and so I said, he's trying to say he can't have sex because I hit him. I mean, I pushed him. So most of you all don't know that I did a lot of trial work before I actually became, a councilman and got really serious about all of that. I tried 5 death cases, whole slew of jury trials. So I understood a little bit about cross-examination, and so I decided, well, this would be really nice. I can get this dude on the stand, say, well, when was the last time you had sex? Right? Because he says he can't have sex anymore. Well, when you did have sex, how long and did you sustain? So I'm saying, oh, I can't wait for this. This is going to be good. But on the way to the trial, you lawyers know about depositions and all of that. So he decides he wants to take a deposition of a doctor, an expert. So he asked me when is a good time, this lawyer representing this guy. And I say, Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock. I got other stuff to do. Now, you know what that was all about. So I come to this, and it was in the Bourse building. You know what the Bourse building is? It was the depositions in the Bourse building. So I go into the Bourse building, I go up to these offices, and here's this. The room is all set up, the table is there, the doctor is sitting behind the table, the microphone is there, there's the little camera pointed at him, and I say, well, I'm not quite ready yet. I want to get my copy of the deposition. She said, don't worry about it. We'll give you a copy. And I said, I'm not paying you for a copy. We'll give you for a copy free. I said, no, I think I'd like to get my own copy because my mother told me, God bless the child that has his own. So I have contacted a friend of mine. Now, some of you all don't know. I tell him I want him to videotape this deposition. So he comes in with like a 25-inch television for a monitor. Here he comes with the big TV. And he has a VHS player. You all know what VHS is? The little cartridges. And he has this camera. He can't get it to work. This guy is paying this expert $2,000 an hour. And my guy can't get it to work. So he says, this is ridiculous. This is costing me money. That really made me feel really bad that this is costing him money. So finally, he gets it to work. And on the screen pops a tape that was full of pornography. Oh my God. Penises, vaginas, breasts, tongues, lips. I mean, it was multiple couples. I have never seen anything like that. And the doctor is sitting there not wanting to look at the secretaries and all the staff. They're like. So finally, they say, get that off there, get that off there. And then he can't get it off. It won't stop. So he finally gets it to stop, and the lawyer says, this thing is over. It is over. And I'm calling the emergency judge, and I'm going to get you held in contempt. I say, all right, works for me. So he sends everybody home. He calls the emergency judge. I'm standing right there, and the emergency judge says, who's the respondent? And the guy says, it's Councilman Street. He says, my shift is over in 30 minutes. Call back when the emergency judge comes on at 6 o'clock or whenever it was. The emergency judge was the Honorable Nelson Diaz, a pretty good friend of mine. So I say, are we going to go over and talk to the judge? And he says, well, I don't think so. I think I'm just going to file a petition. So he's now out thousands of dollars because he has had this doctor here, and Lord knows what else he did. So we go to trial. He doesn't have his deposition. We go to trial. So I go to trial the first day or so, and I say, you all lawyers know this is a civil case. So I say to the judge, well, Your Honor, I did have somebody that was going to represent me, but I'm not going to pay him, and I don't think I can accept free representation. So I'll be popping in and out of the trial. The judge says, you're coming here or I'm going to hold you in contempt. So I say, well, I'm not coming. I'm representing myself. I think you should just go on with the trial. I think Your Honor can be fair. So the next day, I, of course, don't go. The next day, I go about 4 hours late. And so I said, are we going to do that contempt thing, Judge, about, but I have to be here? He says, but we're not stopping this trial. We're not stopping this trial. And I said, I don't want to stop the trial. So these judges like to settle everything. So we go back, and I say, Judge, I don't have any money. I was making $25,000 a year at the time. So I don't really have any money. And if I had money, I wouldn't give him a dime. Not a dime. So the judge says, well, I think you're going to give him some money because if you don't show up for this trial, you're probably going to lose and he's going to get a verdict. And what are you going to do then? I said, that's when I file a bankruptcy petition, go right down to the federal district court, and I will discharge any judgment against me in about 60 days. Whereupon the lawyer who's been spending all this money on experts and preparing for this trial now says, I got to end this. I got to end this. This has to end. I got to end. I said, I don't know why it has to end just because I'm not coming and just because you know you're never going to get any money. That's no reason to stop the case. So the judge gets mad at me and says, you're coming up with some money. You're coming up with some money. I say, I'm not coming to the trial and I'm not coming up with any money. So finally the judge calls me and said, I think we have a way of settling this case. Give the lawyer $2,000. I say, I wouldn't give him 2 cents. Whereupon the judge was really unhappy. I say, but here's what I'll do. I'll make a contribution to the NAACP, and then we can all go home. And that's what I did. And that's my story. Thank you. Thank you.